My wife's best friend tried to seduce me. When I rejected her, she accused me of assault and turned my marriage upside down. I am a 35-year-old man who has spent almost a decade with my lovely 34-year-old wife. We don't currently have any children. For over 15 years, my wife and her best friend Amy have been friends since my time in college, where I first met my wife. Although Amy and I have never been the best of friends, we have been friendly for my wife's benefit. She's noisy, annoying, and entitled, the type that interrupts every discussion. I've always thought that about her. She constantly finds a way to get in the way, whether it's during a private chat or a night out with friends. For instance, over dinner with our long-standing friends, my best friend and I were discussing infertility problems in his marriage. Amy managed to be nosy even though we were talking softly enough that no one could hear us over the noise. She remarked that she would slaughter herself if she were unable to perform the one task that women were intended to perform. My best friend Max and his wife were so enraged by this that they excused themselves and departed early to return home. Amy's obnoxious demeanor caused her boyfriend, Colud, to break up with her. What triggered him, in my opinion, was when Amy deliberately neglected to feed their dog while he was out on business. Why? While she was intoxicated and calling him to come get her, the dog was dozing off. And that's only the beginning. Amy has always treated me strangely. She has been DMing me on Instagram all the time, trying to start a conversation about rumors circulating in our friend circle or just plain unrelated topics. She has always been disregarded by me. Her odd behavior has always been overlooked by my wife, who has never accepted that her closest friend might be malicious. Amy visited my wife at our home following their breakup. Because she wasn't feeling well that day, my wife took some sleeping pills and was asleep in an hour. I recommended that Amy sleep in the guest bedroom for the sake of my wife because I couldn't ask her to leave in her current state. After agreeing, she retired to her bed. She waltzed in wearing only her underwear later that evening when I was cleaning up in the kitchen after dinner. She pretended to be surprised and said she was unaware that I was still in the kitchen. I chose to end the evening because I was so uncomfortable. She began stripping though, and came up to me, telling me that my wife didn't need to know and that she had noticed my gaze on her. I told her that she had a bad idea and should feel guilty for hurting her best friend because I couldn't understand her at all. She nearly jumped in front of me and made unwanted physical contact with me as I attempted to exit the kitchen. Without a second thought, I panicked and punched her in the face. She had a bruised eye. She began to scream so loudly that my wife was startled and staggered into the kitchen to discover her closest friend battered and naked. Amy went on to call me a vile person, accuse me of attempting to abuse her, and order my wife to file for divorce. I retaliated by saying that I punched Amy because she came to me nude and wouldn't leave even after I turned her down. Without a word, my wife passed out right away. I took her to the hospital right away. Although she is now fine, my wife won't discuss what happened with me. Amy, meanwhile, claims that I tried to attack her in our buddy group. While most people don't think she's real, some people still hold on to the idea that you should always believe an accusation. Others claim that by hitting her, I made a mistake and inflamed her rage. My life has been ruined by Amy. My wife is divorcing me and I'm scared this will end up in court. I've already considered harming myself several times. From here, I have no idea where to go. What ought I to do? What should I do next? I would appreciate any advice. I've been considering sending a text to Amy's ex-boyfriend Khalid, who broke up with her, to inquire if she has done something comparable to what he knows. By demonstrating a factual pattern of action rather than a word-against-word scenario, he may contribute to the plausibility of my story. However, I'm not sure if this is a smart idea. If I chose to sue her for defamation, it might be best to first consult with an attorney to see what kind of proof I would want. It may be essential to work with a lawyer who has experience in these kinds of cases to develop an action plan. In this manner, I'll be ready and have someone to help me if things take an unforeseen turn. Amy might renounce her unfounded charges in public if she faces legal pressure. People are making me feel awful about punching her, but that doesn't mean I'm going to be kind to her. After assaulting me, Amy is now making grave, untrue accusations that have the potential to ruin my life. These are illegal acts, this is not a mere drama. Amy says she didn't realize I was still there when she walked to the kitchen to grab a glass of water. Then she accused me of using her. The incident happened about 3 in the morning. The time now is 8 a.m. Amy shared her made-up story in our group chat after she left our house. Due to the early obligations of the majority of our friend group, the false information disseminated swiftly. I've started getting private messages with thoughts and suggestions. While the majority support me, some individuals believe her account of events, while some criticize me for punching her. My wife won't talk to me and has been up all night. I'm allowing her time to take it all in. Update. I want to start by expressing my gratitude to everyone for their guidance and support as I've been navigating this circumstance. However, I've also gotten a lot of negative feedback, with some people saying that the story is a grotesque fiction, or a hoax, which is untrue. I haven't been able to eat or sleep since I'm still dealing with the fallout. I hope you find peace in your lives, everyone who messaged me saying I should have slept with Amy or calling me a sicko. I hope the males who labeled me a fool treat the ladies in their lives with equality and respect. I made the decision to follow advice and get in touch with Amy's ex-boyfriend Khalid within the last 9 hours. He admitted that this wasn't the first time Amy had made similar accusations and was just as upset as I was. He acknowledged that she had manipulated him into continuing the relationship in the past by threatening to accuse him of abuse. In order to avoid carrying out her threats, Khalid installed covert cameras and sought legal advice, which allowed her to flee. This insight benefited me since he was understanding and encouraging. I pointed out all the flaws in Amy's story and brought up the proof that Khalid still had. I informed her that I was prepared to move forward if she wanted to take her accusations to court. After her breakup, she confessed she wasn't in her right mind, apologized, and was terrified. In our group chat, I was able to persuade her to acknowledge this since I didn't want untrue allegations about me to continue to circulate. Her admission made everything clear to anyone who might still be confused. She left the group chat shortly after and has since stopped communicating with everyone. She is practically inaccessible today. I filled my wife in on everything that had transpired. All of the texts, including Amy's confession, had previously been viewed by her. But she admitted to me that she had been thinking about getting a divorce and honestly didn't know who to trust. It was a devastating time. I informed her that I needed time to take in everything that had transpired over the last 14 hours. That night, I chose to spend the night in the guest bedroom. It bothers me that it required Amy's confession for her to support me, even though I'm glad she now believes me. After 10 years of marriage, I would have thought my wife would know me better. However, I see that after 15 years of friendship, she didn't believe Amy was capable of such a thing. My marriage has suffered greatly, and even though I adore my wife, I can't get over this problem quickly. My wife owes Amy a debt of gratitude for assisting her in leaving an abusive home throughout their adolescence. This complicates things by establishing a power dynamic. She has, however, downplayed how traumatic this experience has been for me. She doesn't believe Amy is the bad guy, and she attributes Amy's actions to the emotional pain of her separation. More than 2 months have passed since the tragedy and it has been a busy period. In summary, Amy pushed herself on me, I struck her and she accused me of assault. My wife accepted her claims until Amy eventually confessed. Then my wife dismissed it as a miscommunication. I tried to keep the marriage going for 2 months. Nevertheless, my wife and Amy continued to get out frequently, and she talked eagerly about them as though her best friend hadn't just tried to destroy our marriage. A few days ago, my wife informed me that she and Amy were organizing a summer vacation to Greece, which was the final straw. I remained silent and turned away as she informed me about the trip. She followed me and inquired about my well-being. I expressed my disbelief that she would ignore the reality that Amy had accused me of abuse, pushed herself on me and almost ended our marriage. I told her how terrible it was that she had been prepared to file for divorce right away, but she laughed it off and kept up her friendship with Amy. "Why can't you just get over it?" she asked, breaking down in tears. I'd had enough at that point. After telling her that we were divorcing, I turned to go and began packing my bags. She alternated between calling me derogatory names and pleading with me to stay, pulling my shirt, punching me, and hurling objects in an attempt to stop me. I departed and made my hotel reservation. Her friends and family are now bombarding my phone. After a while, my wife came upon this post and connected the dots. I'm proceeding with the divorce in spite of her entreaties. I went back home to formally request that she leave the residence. I warned her that I would call the police if she didn't leave. She even made an attempt to have sex with me in an effort to stop me. In addition, I challenged her regarding a purported Reddit account in which she purportedly sought out sugar daddies. I don't believe her, even if she denies everything. A few of you mentioned that this might have been a test or setup from the beginning. My wife never wakes up quickly after taking sleeping drugs, so it's conceivable. My wife probably dismissed the incident out of guilt. However, it only gets worse because she even brought up divorce in response to a fabricated claim that she knew was untrue. I want to start by expressing my gratitude to everyone for their support and kindness. I doubt I could have progressed this far without it. Since many of you have requested updates, here is the current situation. My wife is currently staying with Amy after being expelled. She vowed to complicate the divorce, as was to be expected, but my attorney assured me that since we don't have children or joint property, there isn't much she can do. Before we were married, I owned my house. My wife texted me the other day, which surprised me. Since I want to as proof, I haven't blocked her. She informed me that she would sign the divorce papers since she no longer wanted to make it difficult. She revealed to me the shocking reason for the abrupt change. She wanted to be able to spend her days with the person she had been seeing. My heart ached once more, but she didn't say who this person was. How could she have met someone so fast? She probably has been having an affair because it is quite unlikely that she met them after we split up. I can't deny that I loved her very much and did everything in my power to keep her happy, even though our marriage is no longer together. It feels like everything is falling apart, even though I know I'm still young and have my entire life ahead of me. About the Reddit account that purported to be her, I'm positive it was either Amy or her. Too many intimate details about my life were known by the account for it to be someone else. They were teasing me, whomever they were. After learning of the divorce, Hannah, a friend of mine, got in touch. She thinks that both Amy and my wife have been seeing her husband, Alex. The situation feels completely absurd right now, but I wouldn't be shocked if there were yet more to discover. I told Hannah to keep an eye out and collect as much proof as she could. That's the current situation, but I'll provide another update if anything new becomes available. I want to express my gratitude to everyone who has been following my tale. Your remarks have given me courage. I've heard from a lot of you that I'm acting morally. You're young and have your entire life ahead of you. One reader reminded me. Even though it may feel difficult right now, you will overcome it. Put yourself first and avoid expressing remorse or unhappiness in front of your ex. It will make her crazy, regardless of who she is currently seeing. Help Hannah expose her husband, said another. Cheaters should not be allowed to get away with their actions. Additionally, kindly update us on the status of the divorce. Lastly, there was a suggestion that the Amy event might have been a setup. The entire situation with Amy was probably staged, either to get you to cheat and cover up her own adultery or to remove you from the situation so she could play around unhindered. I appreciate your support, everyone. Your support makes it a little bit easier for me to persevere through this. Now to the next story, story 2. Am I the asshole for refusing to change my makeup and style because my friend thinks her husband has crush on me? Original post, my 29F friend, 31F, has told me that her husband, 35M, has a crush on me and has recently told her that he fantasizes over me. This already makes me feel very awkward, but now she has asked if I can stop wearing makeup and wear baggy clothes around him. We went out for dinner last night at a reasonably expensive restaurant with a few others, 7 of us in total, and she texted me when I got home saying she was angry at me for looking hot, after she asked me to not wear makeup. She's my friend and I want to do the right thing, but there's nothing I could wear that is baggy that would have suited the restaurant we were in, Michelin star. My style is very conservative and I was wearing a very average dress with heels. I've written out several responses ranging from an apology to being quite rude, but wanted to check my thoughts here before I go back to her. I don't want to make life difficult for her, but what she's asking for feels unreasonable. Ida. Edit 1, thank you so much for all of your responses. It's 4:21 a.m. here in the UK, so I will write out and send a response tomorrow and will update you all on here. Sorry I can't respond to everyone, I didn't expect so many responses. Edit 2, while I was reading your responses, he just liked an old Instagram pic from way back, bikini pic. He is now blocked. OOP's commenter, top. Anyway, total NTA. For one thing, I don't think it's possible to dress appropriately for a nice restaurant without looking hot to someone who already finds you attractive. And more generally, as long as you're not hitting on the husband, or intentionally dressing provocatively to catch his attention, which it sounds like you're not, then this is a her problem, not a you problem. Here's another point, why on earth did she tell you that her husband has the hots for you? Completely inappropriate, this is something to be handled within the marriage. Oof. I'm not sure why she told me either. The first time she said it was cute, that he had a crush on me, then she started getting a bit more detailed about it. OOP is voted NTA update, same post, final update. Edit 3, I responded with the following. Sorry it's taken me a while to reply, but I wanted to consider this properly and not react emotively. I'm sorry you feel that way, but I don't think it's fair or reasonable to ask me to change how I look because of your husband. My advice is to speak to a husband's name and work on your relationship, because projecting your issues onto me isn't going to help you, but it will damage our friendship. You have nothing to be insecure about. You're the most beautiful person inside and out I've ever met. I'm here for you if you want to talk through it, but ultimately I can't help it if I'm smoking hot, just kidding. 6. 5 minutes after I pressed send, she knocked on my door. She was already on her way, with a bunch of flowers, and cried and gave me a hug while apologizing. She told me they were having problems and it was wrong of her to take it out on me. We've had a long chat and I'm going to be there to support my friend. Thank you all for your input, you all helped so much. Additional info: I've had a lot of people message me asking if they can post my story elsewhere and a couple of reporters, etc. I really don't want to exploit my friend's marriage, so I don't mind if you use it, but please keep me anonymous. Also, WTF, I can't believe so many people care or have an opinion about my boring issue.